Hudson with the Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to talk turkey. To talk turkey means to speak plainly and frankly about something. And today we're going to talk turkey about turkeys. And joining us is Steve Barnett. He is also with the Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division. He is the supervising wildlife biologist for District 5, and he's also the Wild Turkey Project leader. And Steve, I understand you've spent quite a bit of time in the woods. It is springtime, it is March, and turkey season opens throughout most of the state this month on March 15th. And as a turkey hunter, can you tell me what makes this quarry so challenging? What is it that turkey hunters are up against?
Well, turkey hunting is totally different from deer hunting. Typically, in the springtime when turkeys are gobbling, a hunter is actually pursuing an animal that's making a sound rather than sitting on a deer stand or in a shooting house. You're actually actively pursuing, moving towards your quarry, being the wild turkey. So the key is, how close can I get to the turkey that's gobbling, maybe from the roost or has flown down, and the setup, being still, having good camo on. So those are all, elements that are totally different from deer hunting.
So why are the turkeys making these sounds? Tell me about what these turkeys are doing in the spring.
Well, a gobbler typically, from the roost will gobble at first daylight, and he's trying to attract hens. Now, in the turkey world, the hens that are receptive will move towards the gobble of the gobbler. So the turkey hunter is trying to do something sort of totally opposite from what the gobbler wants. The turkey hunter is trying to lure the gobbler into shooting range. But it can be effective. It's just knowing when. It's all in the setup, knowing when to call, when not to call, how much to call. So it's quite challenging.
Now, what's going on socially with these birds in the springtime? Like, are the gobblers going to be coming in groups, or is a hunter talking to one gobbler, or what's that conversation like?
By the spring hunting season, typically the adult turkeys or the older dominant gobblers, they'll have their certain areas that that they stay in. There'll be certain streams that they roost in, and so the dominant birds is pretty much rules the roost in a certain area. And you'll have other satellite gobblers, 2-year-old gobblers in the area too, but they all sort of succumb to the old gobbler. And he may be the one doing most of the gobbling, and you have the other subordinate gobblers that will gobble some too. So there'll be more than one gobbler, but typically the gobbler's trying to attract as many hens as he can to form his harem during the breeding season.
Okay, and when these gobblers are out there, I know there's lots of predators in the woods. There's lots of other things out there besides turkeys, other animals that like to eat turkeys. What type of predators do they have besides hunters?
Well, an adult turkey has very few predators besides man. But there are, that doesn't mean that a predator's not going to try to catch a turkey. Bobcats, coyotes, fox may attempt to catch a wild turkey. During the springtime or during the hunting season, that's usually not an issue as far as predators catching turkeys. Although there are a lot of stories out there, and I've experienced it myself, making hen calls to attract a gobbler and call up a coyote. I've done that myself, and other folks have had similar situations.
Now, turkeys often get the reputation for not being very smart, but if they're avoiding all of those predators and outwitting human hunters, what kind of features do they have that help them stay alive?
Well, they have a great sense of hearing. Their eyesight is exceptional, and even though they have a very small brain, they are just they react to those predator events quickly, and they can run very fast and fly away quickly in those situations.
Now, I know a lot of people think that turkeys can't fly, but that's because they're thinking of barnyard turkeys, the kind that we see on farms, the kind we get for Thanksgiving from the grocery store. Tell me about the differences between a domestic turkey versus the eastern wild turkey that we're up against in the woods.
Well, they're totally different animals. That Thanksgiving turkey that we have at the dinner table does not resemble the wild turkey. The wild turkey, being a wild animal, has a very precarious life from egg to poult to adult turkey. Very few turkeys from the clutch will actually hatch. Very few of those will survive into the fall population. So they have a tough go at it from the beginning.
So if these turkeys are so wary and so alert and so on the lookout for predators all the time, what types of things does a hunter have to do to overcome these challenges and get into close range if he's a turkey hunter?
Probably more important than camo. Camo is important, and being fully camoed is the way to go. It's just being still. Minimize movement, especially if you've heard a turkey gobbling and you're trying to move in the direction of the turkey, and it depends on how close you can get as far as the terrain, the foliage, early spring, late spring, and how you expect that, the cover between you and the turkey. Being a turkey biologist is somewhat of an advantage, or you don't have to be a turkey biologist, but if you understand turkey behavior by being a turkey hunter and knowing the areas that turkeys like to move in, open woodlands where they can gobble and strut and display for the hen. So thick underbrush, turkeys aren't, if you have thick underbrush between you and the gobbler, he's not going to come to you. He might come around, but you want to have a clear open path for that turkey. So knowing the woods, being a good woodsman, and being still is probably the most important thing. But like I said, having good camo and being fully camoed and not wearing colors that resemble a turkey, like red, white, blue, black. So just being fully camoed and limiting your movement.
Now, why wouldn't you want to wear those colors? Is that for the turkey's benefit, or why would you not want to wear those turkey type colors?
Well, for other potential hunters that may be in the area, those are the colors of a gobbler. They have a red, white, and blue head. The overall appearance of the turkey at a distance is going to be black, although in hand those feathers are very iridescent. At a distance they look black, so you don't want to attract. That's another thing that's a little bit different than deer hunting is you're making a call, and sometimes hunters are using gobble calls in addition to hen calls, and so they may call in another hunter who, if they see those colors, may not positively identify their target. So
that's another safety consideration when you're turkey hunting,
absolutely.
to make sure you identify your target and to make sure you're not dressed in a way that may give another hunter a reason to think that you are a turkey.
That's right.
Now, a moment ago you described the type of habitat where you would call a turkey in from and where you would expect to see a turkey. Mm-hmm. I would assume that would be where the turkey's getting all of his needs met. So what do they eat?
In early spring, they're going to be eating, new growth, buds, new plants, herbaceous plants. There may still be some leftover acorns in the leaf litter that they'll scratch and eat. So those are the primary foods. Although a gobbler who is seeking companionship and looking for hens, they're not really focused too much on feeding during the breeding season.
They're just looking for the hens.
That's right.
Okay. Now, when these turkeys are out and about and they're moving, I understand they make a variety of different sounds. So we've used the word gobble a lot, but what types of other sounds do both male and female turkeys make?
Both will make clucks. So yelps and clucks are probably the two primary calls that they actually both can make. Of course, the gobbler has the gobble.
Now, I understand that turkey hunters are seeking the gobblers and that they can kill 5 gobblers a year. And how does a hunter tell the difference between the males and the females when you're out there in the woods and you're excited and they all kind of look the same from a distance, like you said? How do you tell the difference?
Well, it's important that a hunter positively identifies not only that it's a turkey, but what sex it is. A gobbler has, like I mentioned, the red, white, and blue head. The feathers are black tipped, like the body feathers, most of them are, which gives it that very dark black appearance at a distance. A gobbler who is reacting and coming to a hunter's calls sometimes will be in strut. He'll, you know, he'll the typical Thanksgiving pose is full fan, and in addition to gobbling, you can see the turkey gobbling, identify the coloration, a full fan of a strutting turkey. Now a hen has buff-tipped feathers, has a neck that's pretty much feathered all the way to the head, a bluish head. So that's, for a hunter who is really trying to identify a gobbler from a hen, if they look close enough, it's easy to tell the difference if they allow the turkey to get in range, into reasonable shotgun range.
And that's the hunter's responsibility to be able to determine the difference and only shoot the gobblers,
That's correct. It's gobblers only in Alabama.
Right. Now, you mentioned all the different sounds they make and the types of noises that a hunter may make to entice that gobbler into shooting range. And I see you brought some turkey calls with you. Can you demonstrate and tell us about these different sounds and how these different calls work?
Okay. These are the actual calls that I keep in my turkey vest. I use all of these calls. My disclaimer is I've never entered a turkey calling contest. That's so I don't take anything against the folks who do. There's some great callers out there, but I've never entered one. Never been judged by in a turkey calling contest judged by humans. Now I have been judged by wild turkey gobblers, and quite a few of those have ridden home with me in the back of my truck.
Well, then you know exactly what you're doing, and that's what counts. That's
so,
great.
And another thing to point out is for a first-time hunter is if they have attended calling contests or watched some of these events online or videos of it, the call is not that important. I mean, it's important, but woodsmanship skills, knowing turkey habitat, turkey behavior, knowing where a turkey wants to go before he gets there, and if he doesn't want to come to your call, being able to know that and get in position, because sometimes just the location makes a difference in that enticement to bring that turkey within range. So I've got a few here. I don't call a whole lot. You sort of gauge the turkeys or take the turkey's temperature. If he's gobbling a lot, generally you can call more. If he's not gobbling much, then you probably want to tone it down a little bit. So I'll try a few yelps and clucks. I'll just try. This is a pot type call. They have different surfaces. This is glass. There's glass, composite, aluminum, slate. So there's lots of different pots, lots of different strikers like I've got here. So. That would be just a basic yelp. Cluck, or if you do fast clucking, it's sort of, turkey hunters call it cutting.
And that sound's going to carry over a long distance across an open area?
And turkeys can hear a lot better than humans, so you don't have to be that loud. If you set up close to a turkey, if you're within a couple of 100 yards of a turkey that's on the roost or on the ground, you can just start out conservative on your calls, just a few yelps, clucks, and just see how he reacts to that.
Because if you talk too much, they might get suspicious.
Yeah, they do, and so they can be, hunting pressure can cause turkeys sometimes not even gobble once they hear. So this is a box call. As far as a beginner's type call, this one's fairly easy to run. And there's different ways to hold it. I usually do like this. Just a yelp. Or a cluck. So, the box call. And you can see that I don't do a whole lot of, there's lots of other things you can do. You can do purrs, you can do cackles, you can do the cutting, which I demonstrate a little bit of that. But, you don't really have to do all that. It doesn't to kill turkeys.
And a box call like that would be good for a beginner who's never used a call before?
Yeah, the box call would be good. Another one that I don't have with me that's good is a push button type call, which is box, or there's other materials, and they're just easy. It's just a matter of holding the box and that peg that's attached to that box. It does all the work. You just hit the peg against your hand and you're good to go. Some of these are a little bit more difficult to use, like this scratch box, hunters call them, just two pieces of wood. This is cedar with a little bit of chalk on the peg. It's just a matter of getting the angle just right. And I'm far from being, I wouldn't win a turkey calling contest with this, but it works for turkeys sometimes. Yelp, and cluck. So that's most of what I do is yelping and clucking, and I don't do a whole lot of either one. And probably the one I use a lot for a turkey that's really fired up and gobbling a lot, and I think that I can get away with calling loud and a lot, then the mouth call is my favorite. This is a 4-reed type of call. Let me give a try at this. Mouth call.
Well, I gotta say, this really seems like an art. And an art that comes with skill and practice. A turkey hunter can really refine these things. I mean, you got me fooled. If I was a turkey, I'd be in your bag, because those are some pretty good calls, pretty good calling. Where would a beginner purchase stuff like this? Sporting goods stores or off the internet?
And you can, I mean, if you just do some basic searches on YouTube for types of turkey calls, and you got demos, folks that'll have recommendations on how to use these calls, and they probably sound a whole lot better than I do. But these, like I said, these are the calls that I carry in my vest. I don't have a ton of different calls. These are the ones I use. And it can make the difference. One call, you may not get a response from the gobbler. You might try something different. I might be trying a box call and there's no response, and I try that scratch box. He'll gobble back and come in. So having a variety to choose from is helpful.
Now, if somebody's interested in turkey hunting but doesn't have any property to go on, or doesn't have any friends whose land they can use, do we have public land that offers turkey hunting opportunities?
We do. We have our wildlife management areas in Alabama. We have some great public areas to hunt on. So there is ample opportunity throughout the state to hunt our WMAs, and there's folks who have not hunted our wildlife management areas who are interested, if they'll just contact their local district office, and our area biologist can speak to them to give them some tips on what they'll need. Obviously, they're going to need a hunting license and a wildlife management license, and the MAP permit in their possession.
For the specific WMA.
That's correct.
And we have a list of all the wildlife management areas on our website. That's outdooralabama.com, and the public can find out what's closest to them.
That's right.
And try some of those properties.
That's right. If they go to the homepage, and they can just do a search on wildlife management area, or click on hunting, where to hunt, wildlife management areas, and they can scroll down and look, download and print the MAP permit from the website, or they can pick up the hard copy of that MAP permit from any of our offices or some of the local vendors that have them.
Now, once a hunter has put all this time into chasing this very elusive quarry and finally is able to harvest an eastern wild turkey here in Alabama, I'm sure it's very exciting. I'm sure it's exciting to bring that bird into you, and you're in its living room, you're in its own backyard, and getting that bird to come to you and being able to harvest that bird at close range. An exciting moment, but what should a hunter do afterwards? What then?
Well, every turkey hunter is going to relish the moment, and that's what I do. I think about the hunt. The past hunts that I've experienced, I probably remember more about the hard turkeys that I've killed and what it took to get the turkey rather than I do the turkey itself. But after you enjoy the moment and before you move that turkey, remember to game check it, which means first, you got to record and report. That's what game check is, recording and reporting. You got to record before you move the animal. Reporting can be done within 48 hours through the app or online.
And so before they move the turkey, they're going to want to record it.
That's right.
On a harvest record.
That's right.
And then they have 48 hours to report it through Game Check.
That's right.
And my understanding is if they complete Game Check on the app, they can get all that done in one step.
Yes, it's all, if they do it through the app, that's what I do. It's just a few seconds really to enter that information. So you can record, report, and it's all paperless. And if you get checked by an officer, all you have to do is show that information on your smartphone.
And that's the Outdoor Alabama Pocket Ranger app
That's
that
right.
anyone can download from the App Store. And it keeps track of the hunter and gives them follow-up information. They can use all sorts of things with that app. They can even find out more about those public lands we talked about earlier.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, when a hunter has done all of these things and game checked their deer, I understand, and turkey, I understand that the biologists like you are going to learn valuable information from game check. And what other types of turkey research are you doing?
Well, we have an ongoing study right now with Auburn University that's they're in the fourth year of a 5-year project. We have a turkey committee in Alabama that's made up of wildlife biologists, one from each region of the state, and so the turkey working closely with the turkey committee working closely with Auburn have entered into a research project, and turkeys are being on the research sites. James D. Martin Skyline, WMA, Okmulgee, and Barber Wildlife Management areas are the 3 research sites. So on those areas, turkeys are being trapped and radio marked and attached leg bands and monitoring those turkeys. We're trying to improve what we call the vital rates, gain more knowledge about reproduction, survival, and harvest rates. That information will help guide our management decisions in the future, our seasons and bag limits, by adding precision to those vital rates and using that information in a structured decision-making process and a prediction model. So all that's valuable information that we're getting from this current study.
Well, these sound like really fascinating birds, that there's a lot to learn about them. They have intricate lives out there in their habitat, and it's exciting stuff, and it's great that hunters can contribute to this by game checking their turkey and giving information about where it was harvested, etc. What other ways can people contribute to turkey research?
We have an avid turkey hunter, the Avid Turkey Hunter Survey, and for folks that participate in that survey, throughout the season, they're recording their observations. They record the number of turkeys they hear gobbling, how many gobbles they hear, how many turkeys they see, hens and gobblers, harvest information they record. So they log all that information out in the field. They report online. It's set up for online reporting. And that information, coupled with our brood survey that we do in July and August, the results of the Avid Turkey Hunter Survey and the brood survey is published in an annual wild turkey report, full fans and sharp spurs. And hunters who participate in the program, if they wish, we'll send them a hard copy of the survey, and it's also on our website.
Okay. Now I have one more question for you. Are you going to be in the woods on March 15th?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks, Marianne.
Everyone, don't forget our website, outdooralabama.com. It's a great place to go to find out more about the eastern wild turkey and the turkey research efforts happening in our state. You can also access a soft copy of the 2017 Wild Turkey Report, Full Fans and Sharp Spurs. Now, don't forget to game check your turkey. All turkey hunters must game check their harvest. And don't forget to take the time or pay the fine.